this shit was.
You love something? Let it go.
I need to pause, man.
Let's
I need to
talk.
pause, man.
Let's talk.
I used to bang this shit all the time, man, because when you heard this song start, for those of you that's never heard this song, when you heard this song starting here, and if you go back and listen to it, the way he approached it, you know, either let me fly or give me death, that don't even really go with this beat. He made that shit work. I wouldn't have thought he would have approached it melodically that way. Let me fly or give me death, but it's hard.
And that's another thing that's underrated about X too, man. Is he does play with melody. Like you wouldn't even think of melody when you think of DMX. You wouldn't be like, oh, man, but he always played with melody.
Let the dog loose, baby. It's about to spark. When I let go, niggas die.
Yeah, they do. It is so nasty.
This is the perfect. Cause like it couldn't have been the backdrop for him, for somebody like X. Is dynamic and is as hard and raw as an MC this dude is. The backdrop for this album was the perfect backdrop. This shit is spooky, it's eerie, it's
It
funk,
is, man.
right? It's dark and hell is hot. Then you hear doo 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 doo.
Yeah.
Every song, most of the songs on here have that dark, eerie, menacing feeling, like a scary movie.
It does.
You know what I'm saying?
It
And
does.
he's the perfect.
That was the allure to him, and to me anyway. I felt like he embraced the darkness. I felt like he relished in that. I want this project to feel like unsettling.
Dark Man X.
I sold my soul to the devil, and the price was cheap. Call me the devil and give me the key, but can't be worse than the curse that was given to me. There's a difference between doing wrong and being wrong. Let my soul rest, take my breath.
This is a different type of classic, man. I really like. I'm serious, man. I just like you. It's a classic in that you could just put this shit on and let it just ride. Just let it play. Nothing's being skipped.
Let that shit ride.
And it's just I feel the same as when I first heard this album. Nothing's changed. So this is what this album came out in '98. Nothing has changed. It still hits me the same, if not even more, because I'm older now. So that's another thing that we wanted to kind of see by going back and doing these revisiting these classics. A lot of these albums, we were young when we were listening to them. This is '98.
That's true.
You know what I mean? I'm a teenager and shit like that. Like I was very young. I knew what was going on, but I feel like certain lines, man, don't hit you the same until you've lived a little bit and you've kind of experienced life, right? What's that line? Me and Ryan were just oohing and ahhing over that. It's the difference between doing wrong and being wrong.
Yep.
I think as a child, maybe you kind of get that, but you don't really get that until you've had some time in the game, some skin in the game for a little while.
Yeah, you gotta mature. I feel like if you take that line, you know, there's a difference between doing wrong and being wrong, and just apply that to your daily life, I think you would have a different perspective on your actions. I think you would act differently. You know when you're wrong, when you're just wrong at something.
When you're deliberately
you know.
trying to deliberately trying to be wrong.
You know.
And being
You know.
dishonorable.
Yeah,
versus like going through life and making your mistakes and being wrong. That's the idea of that line. It's like, dude, it's the difference between being purposely dishonorable and doing something wrong, or just living life and being human and maybe doing something wrong. Completely different.
And that's the poetic, you know, part of DMX that you spoke about.
This
you know
whole
what I mean?
song, when people talk about like DMX not being a lyricist, I'm like, I get why they would say that, because he's got a lot of songs where he's hyping, he's talking about shoot 'em up, bang bang, kill shit, and that's a big part of X. It's just the person, the human, right? It's just raw and uncut. But then he'll give you songs like this where you can't deny the lyricism in this. Even the chorus. Either let me fly or give me death. Let my soul rest or take my breath. If I don't fly, I'ma die anyway. I'ma live on, but I'll be gone any day. This song, DMX is talking about being incarcerated. I think that's like being locked down in a cell. You know what I'm saying? And like, let me fly or just I'd rather die than be locked down in this cell. But also, I just think he applies that to himself just in how he moves through life. You know, when he says, let me fly, just freedom. You know, I mean, freedom in different capacities. You know what I'm saying? Let me be me. I'm not compromising who I am. I'm not compromising who I am musically. So I'd rather die than be that guy. Is how I've always taken the song. In addition to the fact that he's probably wrote this when he was incarcerated, or at least thought about being incarcerated, right?
Because that's still kind of him being introspective. He wants to be great, even though he may have made some pitfalls throughout the way. You know what I'm saying? Maybe being incarcerated, maybe drugs, all this other kind of stuff. But he's still trying to be the best person he could be and giving you his life and his music. It's raw, but there's beauty in his pain, and there's beauty in his delivery. There's beauty in him barking, and it's just, it's unique. It's artistic. It's abstract. You know what I mean? And it's
him.
shocking. It's
It is.
polarizing. It's all of that shit, man. I don't know what other adjectives you want me
That's
to
good.
say.
I think you summed it up. You summed it up.
You know, but that was DMX, man.
I sold my soul to the devil, but and the price was cheap. Sold my soul meaning I did devilish things. I did things that was probably hurting people around me, hurting others, rob, selling poison to my community, selling drugs, all for the sake of the dollar, right? For the come up.
His price was cheap because I felt like he feels like I ain't got shit anyway. My life ain't worth shit anyway, so I gotta make a deal with the devil just to be successful in this world. You say you hungry for knowledge, so here it is. So eat it, but you don't take the knowledge.
What if his birth was a miscarriage and I never existed? Have I given something that if taken away, you would have missed it? Didn't know, yet I persisted. It was the call of the wild. I merely say what's in my heart. Y'all just call it a style. That right there was cold-blooded. I'm going to tell you what this line made me feel and what I got out of the line. I think what X is saying is essentially is his art. I think he's referencing his art. You know what I'm saying? Because he kind of talked about, he ended it by saying, you know, I just call it you say it's a style. This is just me speaking from the heart. And you're trying to categorize it and put me in this box. Because he said, I think he said later on, you know, don't put it in a cage. Don't mistreat it, right? Don't try to marginalize my style and label me and put me here. Just accept the art for what it is. Accept me for what it is. You can't really cage me, right? Also goes into the let me fly, let me be free, right? But how this line made me feel is, how do I want to leave my impact on the world? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, am I a waste of fucking DNA? Let's just say, you know, that I take my life and I just erase it. You know what I'm saying? I never existed, but I kind of know what my life is. I knew how it turned out, right? Did I leave an impact? You know what I mean? Did I make my mark on this earth? And I just feel like and I don't know if X meant that for himself, but I look at somebody like X and what do they say, Ryan? They say, your true death is when the last person that knows you dies. That your true death is when the last person that knew of your existence dies. That means that's it. Anyone after that last person, you never existed, right? And I think of someone like X, he will live on and on. He's going to have a true death that spans far beyond many of us or most of us because he left his mark. See what I'm saying? So it just makes me feel like, I feel like the line is making me think like, yo, you know, what impact do I want to leave on the world? Am I a fucking waste of DNA? What did I do? So that's how that's always made me feel that way. And I just think that's a brilliant line.
And it's beautiful.
It's so beautiful, so poetic.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant line that I think relates to his career, but also I'm relating it to, that's how I relate it to me personally. So great line.